Hey there, grape grower. This is Fritz Westover with Virtual Viticulture Academy and the Vineyard Underground podcast. And I have a question here that I'd like to share today from a grower in Texas. This grower here in Texas has a question about their leaves and a certain symptom they're seeing on their leaves after harvest. So we're going to dig into this. So the grower says, any idea what's going on in my vineyard? It appears to be affecting only the older leaves. The new growth looks okay. This is a 2-acre Blanc du Bois vineyard that had a good harvest this year. So what I'm going to point out here is that there's a difference in how different aged leaves respond to different stresses. And what we're looking at here is definitely a downy mildew infection on these leaves. Now, the leaves that are shown here in this photo are older leaves, so they're farther down towards the base of the shoot. And the leaves that are older tend to be a little bit more leathery, tend to be a little bit more resistant or resilient to different infections by diseases and even some insect pests. And so what we see here, if we look closer, is that there is a little bit of cell death happening on these leaves, and it tends to congregate along the main veins. And if enough of the main vein is affected, it could close down that main vein. And this is why you see some of the leaves actually have quadrants of the leaf that have dried up and turned brown or necrotic. And in some cases, the vine's ability to resist the disease by shutting down the cells around the infected area, that can slow the spread of that fungal disease. It could limit the resources available to that fungal disease that's trying to grow and thrive on the leaf. And that can actually stop the progress and stop the downy mildew. And that's why when we look on the bottom of this leaf, we don't see a lot of white downy mildew actually active on these leaves. So the good news is your older leaves have some resistance, and so they can tolerate a small amount of downy mildew. And these leaves will hopefully stay intact for the most part and still contribute to carbohydrate reserves going into the vine for the winter that's coming up now that we've gotten through harvest. If you look at some of the vines closer up here, you can see maybe it's possible that if you've applied a post-harvest downy mildew preventative fungicide, it could also be acting in your favor by knocking back the disease. But I feel like these older leaves are just a little bit more resilient. And it looks as though you have some young leaves over here on the left that have started to develop and hopefully are not infected, probably because you've either applied a fungicide to them or you just haven't had rainfall, because downy mildew requires active rainfall and splashing to spread from older leaves to newer leaves. So in this scenario, it looks like your older leaves that were infected are actually hanging on quite well. The downy mildew does not look active, and your younger foliage is actually healthy and thriving. So you might, if there's no rain coming ahead, be able to do nothing, take no action, because at this point, you've already gotten through your harvest and you're just waiting for the vines to go dormant in the winter. I would say to a grower who had a very active downy mildew infection in their vineyard that it might be worth doing maybe one post-harvest fungicide spray. And if you were going to do that, choose a fungicide that has a multiple site mode of action group that would not be developing resistance to downy mildew by applying it this late in the season on an active infection. So I hope this helps you, my grower in Texas, to determine what you need to be doing in the vineyard, which in this case is hanging tight. And if you have any other questions, or if you're listening to this and you have questions for me, you can go to vineyardundergroundpodcast.com, click on the Ask Fritz button, and send your question there, and I'll hope to help you out in the future. Check out all of our other resources at virtualviticultureacademy.com, where we've got tons of grower guides that'll help you through just about any part of the season, no matter what you're doing in the vineyard. So take care and see you on the next one.